So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our regular evening, Wednesday evening meditation. So, before going into any reflections, I would like to just announce that tomorrow evening we are having this online session with the Bhante at the 7 o'clock. So tomorrow will be the first day online. So it's going to be 8 weeks. And today I checked and there are 16 people registered. So all the 16 people have received notification, I believe. Yeah. So this course is basically to get some extra experience, practice from other monks, those who are well known and well practiced meditation masters. So we had it with him last year, and he's happy to have it this year again. So this evening again, we are here to learn the Dhamma and practice just to purify ourselves. If we really are looking for the purifications of ourselves, then we have to learn to purify or starting from avoiding and abandoning any unwholesome activities from physical body, and mentally, and also verbally. So that will be the first fundamental part to train ourselves. And this is the hard one. We have been accustomed and we have been doing it again and again. So suddenly now we want to not to do those unwholesome actions. It's very difficult. And then after that, we should be making some resolutions and make this vows to cultivate good things, good actions, physical actions and verbal actions, and even thinking. Now, once we have done in that ways, then it will help us to clear the mind without much effort or without much worrying. So automatically we will be able to clean or purify our mind. Obviously, our consciousness has got a lot that we have saved, like years of a used computer, and somehow we've forgotten what we have saved in it, and suddenly, when we click something, and it will just pops out. So similarly, our consciousness, we have been saving so much for many, many years, and not only years, but also from the past. So the moment when we are born, in fact, we have taken some from the past as well. And as a result of that, our actions, almost most of the time, are driven by those self-projected or brought from our previous lives, and then we continue working on that. And it depends on which family or which society we are in. It will be reinforced. But if we are in a good family, then we will be told off not to do, change your behaviors, and then that's how we change our behavior. And despite of that notifications or told us to change behavior, somehow he can be a sneaky and doing those things behind the curtains, like that. That could be possible too. But nevertheless, because of the social conditions, the family boundaries, gradually we change those actions and moving towards the wholesome cultivations. Some can continue performing those wholesome actions and move on to the new life, but others sometimes felt or feel that this is a lot of pressure coming down from the parents and can be a rebellious too. Can be a very rebellious in that. So therefore, this is very important that we, whichever behavior that we are performing now, actually it's projected or already brewed in our minds, in a consciousness. Some are known, others are unknown. And some are that could be coming down from the deep consciousness, and others are simply due to the connections and relations that we build up along the way, and then we're performing it. And others are like an instant reaction to the things that against your wish or your desire, and when it doesn't happen, then instantly reacting to it, and that's how so we will be polluting our mind. So the practice of a mindfulness meditation is basically to recognize these things and ability to understand in different levels. And each level has got different states and how to deal with that. So when we dealing with that, then we come across with the main theme that does my mind is clean or not? How many times do we, just return and reflect at how my mind is? I often used to question that very morning when we wake up, what is the first thought that comes into our mind? Is it a wholesome thought or is it an unwholesome thought? In the same time, if you have unwholesome thought, you may be able to reflect that most of the thoughts are, after that leads to the unwholesome thoughts. Whereas if we have a wholesome thought, then straight away there is the chain of a wholesome thoughts will move in, and then sometimes you may face with the unwanted and troubled situation or people. You may face it, but somehow because you had it, the first positive thought, there is a condition making you that, okay, it's okay, today I forgive you, I have a good intention, and you move on. So likewise, you will be changing your mind in a very different ways. So in these different states of this mental states, in order to purify, there are certain instructions that the Buddha gave and instructed us to practice, beginning from living an ethical life, and then ability to control our mind, and not only controlling, but able to understand the natural truth, the way things are. The moment when we can have these three tools employed in our day-to-day life, then we will be preventing from causing or committing any unwholesome activities, whether it is from our physical body or whether it is from a speaking or even thinking, but rather because we are in control of ourselves, we will be able to see that what is good and what is bad, and we will be choosing to act on a good things. But unfortunately, that's not good enough in the practice of the Dhamma. So we have to furthering on to see that these are all conditioning things and able to see that these are nothing to be attached to and overcoming from that attachment. And this overcoming from this attachment is the key. From the basic level to the highest level, which is subconsciously saved deeper in our consciousness. Uprooting of that requires a lot of understanding, a lot of wisdom, and a lot of practice. So that's the reason why we are practicing mindfulness meditation, particularly if we can fulfill the 4 foundations of mindfulness, then obviously we will be able to uprooting all these defilements that is defiling our mind, and then we will be purified. So that is the reason we are practicing this mindfulness meditation. So with this reflection, let's practice meditation. So this is the time for the practice of a meditation. So relax yourself, leaving all your responsibilities aside. If you wish, you may offer yourself to the Buddha and our teachers, simply to get the guidance and security. And take a long, deep breath and relax. And spend some time observing the sitting body. And finding comfortable position. Even if you feel uncomfortable, you can go to the chair. Okay? There are other chairs there. And making sure that you're sitting upright position and relax. You may put the right hand on top of the left hand and gently close your eyes. And observing the breath in your belly. So rising, falling. Because we are concentrating on the study of the Visuddhi, 7 Visuddhis, every Wednesday I will be instructing meditation practice on the abdominal rising, falling, simply to assist when we reach the 3rd Visuddhis onwards, then we'll have a much clearer understanding. So during this time, forget about all other techniques that you know that you have been practicing. So leave that behind and practicing this rising and falling of abdomen. Forget about the breath. After 1 or 2 times of taking the breath, incoming breath and outgoing breath, simply establish your focus on the rising and falling of abdomen. Now, if you find it's a bit difficult to observe the rising and falling of abdomen, there are 2 ways to do. One, just relax the body and watch the breath and sensation that cause the movement in the belly, around the belly area. Or you may put your right hand gently touching the belly, not pressing, but just gently touching the belly. And naturally taking the breath. But we are not paying attention to the incoming breath and outgoing breath, but focusing on the rising and falling movement of the belly. So while observing this rising and falling of abdomen, noticing when it is rising, when it is falling, and each time when it rises, mentally making a note that this is rising. When it is falling, mentally make a note that this is falling. At initial stage, you may have to force a little bit just to see the rhythm of this rising and falling. But once you have recognized it, do not force, take away that effort to do it, but simply being mindful of it. And it is again not imagining, so there is no imagination. There is no controlling. There is no pushing, no interference in it. And when you're observing again, sometimes you may not see that the belly is rising. So it's a physical movement is not the one that we are looking for, but the sensation of this rise and fall. Sometimes you may see that the rising touches, so feels. Other times you may not feel the touch between your cloth and your belly. It's just the process, the functioning character of the belly. And mentally observing it, and in the meantime mentally making a note of it. Doesn't matter which way it is rising, doesn't matter which way it is falling. The first task is to observe when it is rising, when it is falling, and mentally making a note of it. A synchronity is the key. The synchronity, the physical appearance of this belly rise and fall, your awareness is established there. With the establishment of the awareness, consciously you're making a note of it, rising, falling. Sometimes you may have to repeat, maybe 2 or 3 times, rising, 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 falling, falling, falling. But when you are consciously saying in your head as rising, 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 at that time again you're not holding the rise of the belly or fall of the belly. Simply to count 3 or 4 times. It is not how we practice. A natural breath, and this natural breath causing this rise and fall of the belly. So mindfully observing and consciously aware of that.